Okay, today we are in a creative corner with Shayla McGhee from Sable Inspired Books on Create and Hustle, a show where we like to ask people how they took their ideas and turned it into a business. So, Shayla, can you just give us a little bit of the background about Sable Inspired Books and how you got started?
Yeah, so Sable Inspired Books is a publishing agency that I started to publish children's books, coloring books, journals that feature diverse Black characters. I know in certain genres, it's hard to find characters that look like me, that look like my children. So I wanted to start writing books that way. And the way I got started was my daughter and I took a trip to Belgium. We traveled to Belgium, France, and we went to Holland. And the amount of information that she soaked up just on that short trip to these countries was amazing. She was only 4 and she enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. She was able to just tell us a lot of information that she learned, tell everybody at home about what she learned. So the following year, we took our 2 year husband, we all went to London. And again, she soaked up all of this information. And I said, well, Peyton, you know so much. Do you want to share this in a book? And she said, yes. And we started writing her book. We started the process at 5. And what inspired it was we didn't see a lot of travel books with Black characters as the main character. And so that kind of inspired us. We really loved it. So that's how we started.
Okay, we are in the creative corner on ESPN Richmond 106.1. And Shayla, I want to ask you because as a creative and like when other creatives ask me how to get started and stuff, I always say start with a name because, just like people, the first thing we get is a name. So, how did you come up with Sable Inspired Books?
Oh wow. So Sable Inspired Books is basically based off of one of my favorite or one of my most notable or influential writers, which is Phyllis Wheatley. So I've always been a writer. I've always loved to read. And I think it was my third or fourth grade teacher that had me do kind of like a social science fair project on Maya Angelou and Phyllis Wheatley. And I just studied them and those two really stuck with me, and they called Phyllis Wheatley the Sable Muse. So
Wow.
I that was kind of my inspiration for calling it Sable Inspired Books because just that was the first time I had ever learned about Black writers and I love to write. So those two were the most influential writers for me. And I love the name Sable Muse. So I wanted to definitely incorporate that into my business name.
That's a great concept. That's a great concept. So, now that we've been in the pandemic for a while, like it's something that you can't go without talking about. Um, and I know that growing a business became different for a lot of people. So, how has it hurt and helped your business? Or has it hurt or helped your business?
I'm still kind of new to this. I can't really say it hurt my business. I don't want to say the benefit, but I started writing the books and I want to say 2019. I started writing it there. And I started joining Facebook groups and social media and learning and working with other authors. I met my mentor via like Zoom, so I learned even how to write books on social media and Zoom because we couldn't really go anywhere. And so that really helped me learn how to network even more and find these spaces to hone my craft um, quicker. And I've been able to build like a really great support system of authors and network. So it really helped me learn how to navigate. And it also showed me, I think, had I started before the pandemic, I wouldn't have seen how far your books or your business can reach. So now you can do virtual interviews with people from different states. I don't
Yeah.
know if we were all thinking like that prior,
Yeah. That's
we all
yeah, that's a good that's very true. That's very true.
yeah, so it kind of helped me understand that you can expand beyond, what you thought do prior to the pandemic. So I don't want to say it's hurt at all. It taught me how to work with Instagram, how to get in Facebook groups, how to do reels, like what you need to do, and all of these social media presences. Even though I was on social media before, I never used it as a business
It's
tool.
different
So
as
I
a
had to learn.
business.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
at first I was like, I'm on social media just to, say hey to family. I never even looked at it as a business tool prior. So the pandemic kind of forced you to do these types of things. And even if we're out, the social media and the internet are still ways that you have to grow your business. They're big ways to reach audiences. So I think in that respect, it helped me learn a very important way to market to a target audience.
So one thing I wanted to ask you as a parent, there's a lot of ways that you can include your child in your business. Why a book as per se? Some people have Instagram, some people are doing YouTube. Like, is it because your love of writing and your love of books? Was that the reason that you steered more towards that than other avenues?
I think so. I think I loved to write. I think it was kind of a natural progression for me. And my daughter was an early reader. So she was able to start reading and really understanding what she was reading around 3 and 4. So it was kind of easy for us to talk about what we could do and go from there. She was already introduced to books, she was already understanding what books were. So that was just kind of a natural progression for both of us to go that way. Also, what I like about books is that it's something, I don't want to say it's an easy process. It's not, but it's something that kids really can grasp a lot easier than maybe some concept that they're not used to or they don't have a natural affinity to. And maybe I had one prior.
Okay, we are in the creative corner on Creating Hustle on ESPN Richmond 106.1. And Shayla, one of the last things I want to ask you, like now we're underway in the new year. 2022 is here, the second month. Like, what do you foresee for Sable inspired books? Like, are you guys only available online? Have you went the brick and mortar route? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so we've reached out to a lot of independent stores. We're in bookstores and we're continuing to branch out there. So I'm starting to reach out to even more bookstores. I also launched a publishing agency where I can help others publish their books and learn how to do it. One of my passions is for children to also be able to establish their legacies through publishing books. So I launched Ivory Pen Publishing, which is where I also help others publish their books. So expanding in different avenues that way. I'm trying to think. I'm also trying to write like a lot of books this year. So even more books, even more coloring books, trying to get more into the coloring book space because that's big and I love coloring books. And when I was young, it was hard to find characters that
Yeah,
looked like me in coloring
very
books.
much so. Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm really trying to do that. And I'm also doing an author summit this year. So I teamed up with
Amazing.
another creative writer and we're hosting an author summit on Wednesday where we're
This
giving
week,
information
Wednesday?
this week, Wednesday.
That's amazing.
Yes, so the Level Up Author Summit. So I've set some lofty goals for myself this
And that's my
year.
last question for you. For a person who's now, you're just starting out in business, how are you, like a 3-month planner? Are you the yearly planner? Like, how do you plan? Because I know that's
Um,
big for some people and they don't really know like how they should be planning out. So how does it work for you?
that's a great question. I'm a planner, but I also kind of have ideas and I'm like, oh, I can try this or do something. So, for example, the Level Up Summit was just something that I was throwing around and I happened to speak to one of my friends that's an author and she was like, let's do it. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So this year, my philosophy is do it scared.
I like that.
Everything I'm learning, I'm doing. I've always been, you always get nervous, you always get
Yeah.
scared, but you have to push through that and go ahead and work through it. So that's my philosophy as far as planning. planning a year out is a lot for me. So I'll say I'll plan like 3 months in advance, but then things will come up. People like, oh, here's a seminar. Oh, here's a vending
Yeah.
event. And I'm like, was my schedule clear? Okay, we'll do it there. Like, or I'll fit it in. So it's a flexible planning schedule.
Flexible planning schedule. I like that. Well, Shayla, let the people know where they can find you on social media, your website, and things like that. Or what, I know you have that coming up on Wednesday. This will probably air by the time that, comes out. But how can the people find you?
Yes, so you can find me quite a different way. So on Instagram, you can find me at McGhee Party of Five. Um, for my books and to purchase my books, Sable, Sable, inspiredbooks.com. If anyone is interested in publishing or wants to start that process, it's ivorypenpublishing.com. And then for the Level Up Summit, we have a Facebook group, which is Level Up Summit 2022. And if you want to register for that, then you can go to my page, ivorypenpublishing.com/summit 2022. So yeah, that's a lot of places you can find me.
Listen, it will be there for the playback for the people so they can find you. And Shayla, I just want to thank you for coming on Create and Hustle, where we like to ask creators how they took their idea and turned it to a business. So thank you again for coming on.
Okay, thank you. This was
Thank
fun.
you. All right.